Welcome back. Well, breaking news just now by Joe Kelly in The Australian. He says that the Greens leader Adam Bandt has put recognition of a Palestinian state as one of the key demands that he'll make of Anthony Albanese if they go into talks, if there is a hung parliament at the next election. Well, to discuss this and more, let's bring in now the Executive Council of Australian Jewry Co-Chief Executive, Alex Ryvchin. Alex, thank you for joining us. So Adam Bandt, just giving those comments right now to Joe Kelly in The Australian, he says he will elevate the recognition of a Palestinian state in any discussions for minority government should the election return a hung parliament. This does fuel concerns about a Labor-Green coalition. I mean, we think kind of Labor hasn't been strong enough to support the Jewish community as it is, but if they get into a coalition with the Greens, this could get even worse.
It would be a dangerous thing. It's frankly unthinkable. In the past 7 or 8 months since October 7, the Greens have staked out the most extreme positions against Israel and the Jewish community imaginable. We have seen their members of parliament at state and federal level engage in overt, open anti-Semitism. We're talking about Jenny Leong, the member for Newtown in the New South Wales Parliament, talking about Jewish tentacles seeking to control power and government and so forth. And no sanction, no actions were taken against her by her party. So this is a party that needs to be considered what it is, which is institutionally anti-Semitic. And as such, the major parties should pledge to preference them last. And the notion that Labor would actually do a deal with them and be beholden to them in some sort of a coalition government is abhorrent. And we would call on Labor to declare that it will not in any circumstances sit in coalition with the Greens, particularly given this latest policy agenda of theirs, pushing for the declaration of a Palestinian state, effectively recognising a terror state in Gaza. That's something that most Australians would find vile and extreme, and it's something that we as the Jewish community would oppose until the very end.
Yeah, well, it is a sitting week in Canberra. This is a big story. Labor is going to have to respond to it tomorrow, but the reality is Labor's halfway there down the path of saying that they recognise a Palestinian state in any case. Now, Alex, I want to ask you about this offer from the University of Sydney's Mark Scott to the pro-Palestinian protesters to be involved in reviewing the institutions that are involved in their defence and security ties. The Vice-Chancellor, Mike Scott, has given the campus until 3 o'clock tomorrow to respond to the offer. I mean, these protesters are responsible for hate chants, and yet then they're rewarded by this. And wouldn't this effectively amount to a boycott of Israeli companies anyway?
Well, we need to see exactly what Mark Scott and the university has supposedly agreed to with these students, but on the face of it, it looks like a pathetic capitulation to extremists. It looks like appeasement in its worst form. From the very beginning, we have called on the universities to close these encampments, to enforce their policies, to protect Jewish students and staff who are being intimidated and harassed, who are being told to stay home from campus for their own safety. And if a deal has in fact been done with these thugs and extremists, it shows that they have greater rights and greater powers than Jewish students and academics who simply want to learn and study at their university. We need to see exactly what Mark Scott has agreed to, but if there is any pledge to review arrangements or agreements with Israeli universities, if this opens the path to a boycott campaign, they'll be responsible for everything that ensues. They would have set a terrible precedent not only for this university, but for higher education institutions throughout the country. This is one of our most esteemed and prestigious universities, and to think that they would engage in any sort of a negotiation with these people who have openly professed their support for terrorism is a very disappointing thing in the extreme. Indeed.